Welcome to Who's the Man? I'm George Jakovic, surrounded by champions. Showtime Sean Porter, Chris Algieri, and Paulie Malignaggi. Guys, this is a continuation of the Who's the Man show we did last week. You guys gave me your top three at 140 pounds. And Sean, you changed it on air. So I'm hoping this is right. This is what you had it. You had Regis, Teofimo, and Devin Haney. So,
that
you
was
can't
until
change
yesterday.
it again. You did
That
it
was
twice
until
on air
yesterday.
last week.
It's just changed yesterday. So
Okay.
there's that.
So we're reminding people of the top three. So guys, this show is coming around. We want people to subscribe, like, and comment because we read your comments. The fans were very surprised at people who didn't make the list, guys. So that's really what this show is about. And maybe we'll talk about some guys that just missed making that top three. But the number one name that was mentioned by the fans was Subriel Matias, who, by the way, Tim Bradley has him as his number one guy. You guys didn't have him on your list, and I just want to read a couple of quotes from the fans. Freddie Cassiano, 6354, said, nobody can claim to be the man at 140 without seeing Subriel Matias first. And Tony also said, Chris isn't a real boxing journalist. I respected him until he made this absurd statement about Subriel. He needs to do his homework or stop pretending to be a boxing analyst. So the fans have the fans have spoken out, and
I feel like, George, I feel like you put that on the back end of all that.
I really didn't. I didn't have to. I was going to.
Sound like genuine fans.
I was going to, but the fans did it themselves. And I think, Chris, what Tony's referring to is you said something about Subriel had power, but he wasn't as strong as Regis Prograis. So, Chris, let's start with you. Subriel Matias is a champ. He's knocking everyone out. Why didn't he make the list? The fans want to know.
Defense. One word. Defense. Listen, defense is what wins championships. The highest level guys, the guys who are at the top of the pound for pound list always have good defense. Can't get hit at the highest level. Guys are too strong. Guys hit too hard. Guys are too clean. Guys are too sharp. Subriel Matias, listen, the kid's an animal. He's got great power. But he got outboxed and dropped by a guy we had on our air a couple weeks ago, Petros Antuanne. Sure, he got back that win, or that loss rather. But even Petros, he got outboxed on our air and had to score a come from behind victory by KO to get that win. So you got a guy like that who's getting outboxed by a guy who's been outboxed. Listen, we got a lot of good boxers that are in that top three. So Subriel Matias, listen, I got him in my top five. I think he's right outside. Listen, it's three. Also, I'm not a boxing journalist, so I don't know where homeboy's coming with that. I'm a boxing pundit. You tune in for my opinion. This is an opinion show. Every list is an opinion for discussion. So yeah, I mean, listen, fan comes from what word? Fanatic. These guys are fanatic. Actually, before I even go, was homeboy Puerto Rican?
Ooh,
I don't know. A little bit
of home cooking. A little bit.
Tony also, if you're out there, drop some comments. Tell us some more about yourself.
I love when people get butthurt when you don't have their guy at the tip top because it's your guy. Listen, I get it. We're all fans. You all got your guys. It's opinions, man. That's why we have these shows. These are barbershop discussions. You're supposed to go back and forth. It is what it is. But listen, I think I need Subriel Matias. The question mark around Matias is still there. I base it off of that loss against Antuanne. But listen, there's still time. Like Sean, you just said until yesterday, your list was so and so, and now it's this. These kind of things change all the time, and that's the beautiful thing about boxing, right? These discussions are great because they change constantly. Yesterday and tomorrow are different days, and anything can happen in the boxing world of boxing. The landscape changes in one weekend. So we'll see where we go from here. I mean, this is one of the most competitive divisions we have in the sport. It's one of the deepest. And now we got these guys fighting. I mean, two of the guys that we all have in our top 3 and 5 are fighting each other in a couple of weeks. So there's still an open book on the 140-pound division because it is that competitive.
Well, Sean and Paulie, why don't you guys weigh in on Subriel Matias? Because listen, all they talked about in these comments was Matias. These guys are crazy. They're biased. Blah blah blah. So Sean. Subriel, why didn't he make your top 3?
I don't need to weigh in on it. You know, Chris said everything that needed to be said. The leash is off of that man over there. I could not applaud him anymore. The way you answered that is just simply magnificent. For me, I'm sorry, I forgot he was a champion. You know, to me, he's had great performances, but he's also had some lackluster performances. And to me, that doesn't put you in the top 3. We're talking about okay. So then Regis Prograis, his last fight was not a dynamite performance. But when you take into account that was a last minute replacement fight, you take into account that guy had a style that he just simply wasn't ready for. Again, that kind of style you need a little bit more than a week to get ready for. And I think that obviously we know what Devin Haney has done. Clearly we know what Teofimo Lopez has done. So that's my top 3. They may have changed a little bit in the last 24 hours, but for the most part, man, I understand why Subriel Matias should be in the top 3 because he is a champion. But at the same time, when I don't remember you're a champion, you're doing something wrong. Not me for not picking you. You for not sticking in my mind, especially when you are a champion. So simple as that.
Paulie.
I mean, I like the fan engagement, man. I mean, I like the emotion of the whole conversation. You know, like Chris said, the champ said, you know, these are barbershop kind of conversation. I enjoy that, you know. And bro, I'll be honest, I'm used to having my picks criticized. I'm a hater no matter what, right? So if I don't pick this guy, you got 10, 15 choices to pick, right? But you got to pick a top 3. Whoever's not in there, you're a hater, right? So I mean, you only got 3. It's math. So you got to be a hater regardless by process of elimination. So you know what? This week, I'm a Matias hater. It's a bit of a changeover from the weeks prior where I was supposedly a Haney hater. So at least we'll change it over this time. But of course, Matias is a good fighter too. Listen, if we get the damn fights, we will be no debate. We can just watch the fights, and we all want that. I think us and the fans can all agree that we just want the fights. We can have the fights, then we'd get no debate, and we can watch the results unfold right in front of us and get excited about it.
Well, Paulie, we're just getting started. We've got some hater comments towards you too, but we'll get to those later in the show.
Surprise.
Naturally.
We're gonna take a quick break, but Tony also did have one more comment that I clipped out. Guess why? Because my name's in it. He said, respect to George Jakovic, who closed out the video by stating Timothy Bradley says Subriel Matias is the best 140-pound champion. Kudos to him. Someone actually spelled my name right and gave me kudos. So thank
Sean,
you.
Like you said, I think George is picking these for a reason.
Yeah.
Something tells me Tony now is gonna be a Tim's Hall of Fame speech to congratulate him.
Well, you know what? Something tells me that ProBox TV is doing some great things. If you don't know, check this out.
We don't see ourselves as promoters. We've created a boxing channel for the fans where they can really follow the sport, and we're just taking it to another level.
Launches ProBox TV.
Well, we begin with the main event from Saturday. Canelo Alvarez dominated Jermell Charlo from the opening bell to the final bell.
It was sort of an autopilot.
Canelo was never a one-punch guy.
This is what I love doing. This is my passion.
This is the meaning of boxing for us.
An opportunity in life that if you're determined enough, if you care enough, you work hard enough, you're tough enough, on one given night, get in that ring and you can make life fair.
And now the champion.
It's not about changing who you are. It's about doing what you have to do to win a fight.
Look at this talent that we have here, because I'm surrounded by champions.
Boxing is a whole different animal.
I'm gonna put some hope in this bottle for you. All right?
This is serious stuff. This is ProBox TV.
Woo. Man, I love that promo, guys. I love it. And I love this list. Best at 140 pounds. Sean, of course, you can we've learned one thing about Sean's list. You can never go by what he says prior to the show because it changes once we get onto the show. So we get it. We're starting to get your rhythm, Sean. We get it. We're talking about the best at 140. So another name that was mentioned by Keith Safus 8585. He said, if y'all ain't mentioning Garry Antuanne Russell at 140, you guys are politicking. So he's another guy that didn't make the list. Sean, your thoughts on Garry Antuanne Russell?
I was going to say, let me go first because I'm a big fan of Garry Antuanne Russell. I love the Russell family. I think if you're in boxing, you love the Russell family. I grew up with the Russell family, so I know exactly where they come from. I've watched Garry Antuanne fight a number of times live with friends. And while we're watching the fight, my friends have leaned into me and said, yo, he fights a lot like you. And I'm like, yeah, he fights a lot like me. He's got to be polished in some areas, but yeah, you're right. He fights a lot like me. I love the fact that he can box. I love the fact that he can be aggressive and go at you. I just think that there's some small things that may be missing out of his game. On top of that, the fact that he hasn't been in elite competition yet. This is an elite category with top 3. And yeah, my list is going to change every time we talk about this because that's how much boxing changes. And, I just want to piggyback off of what Paulie said. If we get the fights, we don't even need to have the discussion. We can talk about why the fight happened the way that it happened and why this guy is number 1, why this guy is now number 2. Garry, all respect, love him again, love the family, but he just doesn't belong in the top 3 because he hasn't done what it takes to get into the top 3 yet. He's not even ranked in the world in the top 5, I don't think. So there's that.
Paulie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of going to jump off of what Sean said. I'm a big fan of the Russells, in having met them, a lot of them now. I mean, obviously I covered a lot of Garry, there's a bunch of Garry. So the featherweight champion Garry, for a lot of his career when I was at Showtime, I mean, he became one of my favorite fighters to watch. And I cannot imagine the frustration as a fan, because I was frustrated as an analyst that this guy wasn't getting guys like Leo Santa Cruz and guys and other guys in the weight class. I thought he would have cleaned up completely. I thought he he even gave Lomachenko an early good run for his money, and Lomachenko at the time was very, very, very good. So I mean, I thought Garry was unbelievable. The Russell family are such good fighters. That it's in their blood. It's a DNA thing, and they were also. I also used to love the fact that once you get to know them, how close knit of a family they were, how they train together and do everything together. And boxing is sort of like the family business for real, and they can all fight, and it's easy to be a fan of them once you start to know them. I'll be watching them. Obviously, they're fun to watch. For me, they were always fun to watch. Everybody's gonna have their opinions, but also once you know them, it became even easier to root for them and want to see them succeed. And of course, be frustrated for, like I said, for the oldest one to not get the fights that I felt he should have gotten, where I thought he would have cleaned the house up. As far as Garry Antuanne, again, I'm going to go back to what Sean said. I haven't seen him at the top level yet. This is a top 3 conversation. I don't understand how it means that if we're politicking, if we don't have him in the top 3. I mean, that I don't get. That might be one of those fanatical situations that Chris was talking about before, because I don't know how you could put a guy who hasn't been in with the top guys in your top 3. But nonetheless, tons of potential on Garry Antuanne, a guy I expect to eventually be in the top 3, and a guy who hopefully gets treated better than his brother got treated, in that he gets the guys in the ring with him, because I feel like he's gonna deserve these big fights too.
Yeah, I have to agree with both you champs. I don't know them as closely as you guys do, and Sean, I haven't seen them fight live like you have, and I don't know them personally like you do, Paulie. But I'm a big fan of Garry Antuanne Russell at 140. But listen, as someone who doesn't know them personally, I'm gonna have to just go by the numbers. His 2 biggest wins are against Victor Postol and Rances Bartholomew. Older guys, older champions. Yeah, sure, they were top level guys. They were elite at one point, but they aren't now, and they haven't been for years. So until we see Garry Antuanne Russell with these other fighters that we are mentioning, it's really difficult to put him in the top 5 even, let alone top 3. So in terms of politic, I mean, listen, it would be politicking if we were putting him in there, not the opposite. He's got to fight the fights. He's got to fight these guys if we're going to be realistic.
I mean, and Chris, you just reminded me of something. I mean, the people that were putting Haney on a pound-for-pound list before that, it's the same thing. You brought up Garry Antuanne's wins over Postol and Bartholomew. What did Haney do before Lomachenko win? Beat Gamboa and Linares, who were 105 years old each. You know what I mean? And what did he do? You know what I mean? It was the same thing. And people were putting them on the pound-for-pound list. So it's the same thing, because I know that one's coming next in this conversation. So I'm going to jump ahead of the game. Again, you're beating old champions, but if I dig up Muhammad Ali out of his cemetery and beat him, that's not a win over Muhammad Ali. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not the same thing. You know, so you got to be guys at a high level, and that's why this fight for Haney against Prograis is very, very important, because right now he's running just on potential. He's running just even the Lomachenko win, nobody thinks he won it. So you're running a lot on potential. The Prograis fight coming up is a big, big fight for Haney.
And that just to piggyback quickly off that point. And just because you beat those older guys doesn't mean you're not going to be one of those guys. Just like Devin Haney. Devin Haney wins this fight. It legitimizes everything he's done before. And same thing with Garry Antuanne Russell. He goes on a run and he wipes out 140. Those fights, even though he fought those older guys when he was younger, it doesn't mean that they weren't important. But
everything in due time.
Yeah.
Sean, you had a point you wanted to make?
Yeah, no, I just want to let you guys know that when Paulie says something that I feel like I can't agree with or I shouldn't agree with, I'm just gonna fade out of the page.
you don't want a firefight?
I'll always come back, but when you see me fade,
now I know, Sean. I gotta let you in there when I see the fade.
Yeah.
All right, Sean has
fade. I like that.
Listen, we're gonna take a break in a second, not yet, but really quick. Just let me go around. We got to mention the other champion here, Rolly Romero, which, by the way, no one mentioned in the comments. But Rolly, is he close to making this list, Sean?
No. Rolly is a ticket seller because he has a small I don't even know, and I want to be respectful to Rolly, but Rolly's a knockout, what became a knockout artist. We haven't seen him in that light in some time now. But especially with the way he fought in his last fight and how that fight ended up, ultimately, he does not belong in the top 3. Excuse me.
Paulie?
Yeah, bro, I like Rolly. I mean, I don't think he's a top 3, but I think he's entertaining. I think he's fun. I think he could win on any given night. He could lose on any given night. He's a guy who's, makes for fun TV and fun fights. Don't think he's top 3, but I think he's world class. I definitely think he's world class, and he's holding a world title. Listen, bro, he probably snuck one out with Barroso that he didn't deserve. Who knows? But you know what? We also may have gotten the chance to see Rolly knock out Barroso late, because Barroso took that fight on last minute notice and he was kind of fading. So, Tony Weeks also may have taken away the chance for Rolly to finish Barroso in proper form as well. Because I mean, it doesn't help Barroso's cause that he had to take that fight on a week's notice. But I mean, Rolly's Rolly, man. I mean, I thought he was up in the Gervonta Davis fight before he got knocked out. But then again, a lot of guys have beaten Gervonta Davis before they get knocked out. So I don't know, man. But he's there. He's in the conversation. I don't think he's like, oh, I think Rolly's underrated, because people constantly talk bad about the guy so much. I think he's better than what people think. I don't think he's top 3, but I also don't think he's bad as some people, as I hear so many people talking about. He's a guy people like to complain about.
Chris, your quick take?
Great points, Paulie. I always look at where you won your title, right? That's a big one for me. It's like how and who and what. Vacant titles against a guy who probably shouldn't have been there in terms of Barroso. And listen, I'm not knocking Barroso at all. He's an excellent guy who probably should have been a world champion prior to this, but wasn't. Was always in tough, was always willing to fight anyone anywhere. But listen, winning a vacant world title who's not recognized in the top 10 of any other organizations, it always makes me kind of shrug my shoulders. Like, well, how are we going to talk about top 3? But that's also this whole conversation. Top 3 is tough, man. 3. That's not a lot of guys, especially in a division as deep as this one. And listen, just like in close fights, a split decision moves you ahead. So you could be a split decision from fourth place or third place, third place to first place, really, in terms of how competitive these guys are. So I mean, we get raked over the coals because of our ratings, but it's a very competitive weight class, and that's what makes it so interesting, and exactly why we're now on our second show talking about this weight class.
Well, you know what else is tough? Doing these shows in 24 minutes. So we're going to take a quick break. You see that Sean Porter? I almost said Sean Bradley. I'm thinking basketball. Remember Sean Bradley with the Nets?
No.
Okay. Sean Porter is with us, but we've got other members of the team too, Teddy Atlas and Tim Bradley. Let's take a look.
Man, it's an honor and a privilege to be a part of this beautiful panel, man, you guys got going on. Thank you. A lot of the fighters that I see that fight on ProBox, either they were on top at one point, got knocked off, and they're trying to rebuild. Then I see a lot of young little prospects that are coming up. It's for the diehard fans, man. People that just love watching boxing. All the matches are always competitive, and they put on great shows.
Hi, everybody out there. I'm Teddy Atlas here with ProBox. Everybody wants to follow somebody, wants to know who's the man, who's the guy, and there's a lot of good fighters out there. Go out there and just download ProBox app. If I could do it, I'm a caveman. Me and technology, we're not friends. But if I could do it, you could do it. And I guarantee you one thing, you're going to like it.
So there you go. Teddy Atlas is really into these shows. I know he loves shows like this. But guys, I'm keeping a running time. We've got a little less than 3 minutes. We got less than 3 minutes. So I want to get into some more fan comments here and have you guys comment. So Jay Aragon says, clown lists. You can't have Haney in top 3 at a division he hasn't fought in. Number 1, Teal. Number 2, Taylor. Number 3, Rougarou. Clown list, guys. That's what Jay Aragon is saying. Sean, any response?
I mean, yeah, no, I love Josh Taylor. The way he got mollywopped in his last fight. You know, hey, it happens every now and then. You have something like that goes. But to see Haney as explosive as he has been, even in close fights like the fight we're going to continue to talk about this fight with Lomachenko. It was a close fight. I had him winning. I just thought the business was made for him to win that fight. Is what it is. But even with razor thin wins, that's how it's supposed to be against elite competition. You're not supposed to just completely smoke elite competition. When you're elite and you get smoked by elite, it shows how elite you actually are, not for the sake of words. Josh Taylor just isn't elite. Very good. Not elite. This is elite top 3 is what it is.
Well, I got to get to some more because we're running out of time. But Paulie,
also, wait, hold on. I don't think Taylor's fighting a 40 anymore, and I believe that's probably why he was not in the mention. I'm pretty sure he said he's fighting a 47.
He's not. But Paulie, I promised you some love on this show. So SB4429 says Paulie put Sandor Martin above Prograis to diminish a Devin Haney victory. LOL. He hates Devin so much. And Mike W6311 said, man, what did Devin do to Paulie? Because he's been bitter towards him for years.
For starters, that's a lot. That's really going down the rabbit hole for somebody to think that much deeply into it. But it's interesting for them to think about that. But you got to really be thinking about that. I didn't give it that much thought. But for them person to say, oh, I picked this one for this one just so this one and this one could look like something. That's all. You're giving me way too much credit for thinking way too much about Devin Haney that I want to, you know? As far as the other stuff, for example, I'm going to bring up what Regis said about Haney buying a loss off his record. I heard that like 4 years ago when he was on Showbox. I heard that already. You know what I mean? That's like one of the worst kept rumors in boxing. That Bill Haney bought a loss off of Devin's record on BoxRec. I heard that. I heard that shit when I was at Showtime. Like how long have I been away from Showtime? You know what I mean? So
long time.
I've heard a lot of other things too. Not a lot of. I've heard 1 or 2 other things too, but I keep them to myself because I don't want to be a little snitch and all that other stuff. But I know, and I respect the business. You want to go maneuvering around the other ways in underhanded mannerisms. I'll let you get away with it, man, because I'm not the snitch. But I do respect the business too much to respect that kind of thing. So one of those things that I did here now is coming to light. I heard it years ago that Bill Haney bought a loss off Devin's record. And if that loss isn't bought off his record, like I said, he's me with money behind him. I told you that years ago. Okay. If you don't buy that loss off his record, we're not even having this conversation right now about Devin Haney because he probably not in the situation that he's in with that loss on his record. He probably doesn't get the shot at Kambosos when he's supposed to and all that other good stuff. So it's a domino effect. But hey, listen, man, these are rumors, right? We don't have confirmations, right? But damn, I heard it 4 years ago. Now Regis is hearing it. I mean, it starts to pick up a little bit of steam, right? So ain't nothing hating here, man. I respect the sport and I respect the business. But hey, man, if you can maneuver, go for it, man. All respect to you. Go for it.
Regardless of the degrees of separation from what that guy just said, leading up to you not liking Haney was that's just some impressive boxing math. Like you said, you were thinking really deeply on that response.
All right. Well, the fans, they got Paulie going down this rabbit hole, and we went over 24 minutes again. But I will end it with one quote, and then we got to get out of here. JM Studio says, great show, guys. But can I ask Sean to stop doing interviews from his walk-in closet? LOL. Regis is good, but I don't think he's done enough to be #1 yet. So there you go, JM Studio. And by the way, Sean is not in his closet today. So,
no.
So there you go. The fans have spoken. You guys have responded.
He's got the best background today.
He does. But the fans have spoken. You guys have responded. We got to get out of here. Make sure you download the app. We need more subscribers. We're up to 70,000. We need to get to 100,000. Remember, ProBox TV is your boxing channel.